What do you believe in?
Well, I I believe in honesty because I feel like basic communication between people, if it's not built on honesty, then really it's just words, and words don't mean anything unless they're reciprocated through your actions. And a lot of times it's hard for people to trust that that's going to happen if the words that you're saying aren't built on honesty. And I think that that being honest with people allows anyone to be able to trust you, and trust is something else that's extremely important when it comes to just the basic breakdown of communication between people. And trust and honesty go hand in hand, because I can trust someone that they're telling me the truth, and they might not be, but I have to give them that trust. But if they're constantly not going to be honest with me, then it's going to make it harder and harder for me to trust them. So it's like you got to find a balance where you can, not with you and other people, but with other people to you, you have to recognize like who's being honest with you and who you can trust, and you have to recognize who you really want to give your honesty to and who you want to give your trust to. So I think that when it comes to just the basic human connection, it's all about honesty and trust. And I think that in our generation, in this time in our society, it's hard to be honest a lot of the time, and we're scared to be honest a lot of the time. And that makes it really difficult to grow as not only people, but as, I guess, a society as a whole. And especially our age group, we like to shelter ourselves and kind of keep things to ourselves, as opposed to just expressing how we feel and saying our own truths. And if people don't know your truth, then they're never really gonna know you. So holding that kind of stuff back is, I try not to as much as possible, because I believe that in order for me to be content with myself and the happiest I can be, I have to lay everything out there for people to see, or else that's not me who people are seeing. And I want people to see me for who I am, and not shelter them from me, because
Do you find people in your life often trusting you or not trusting you?
um, I think that because trust is such, I think that trust has to be a very mutual and two-sided thing, because I can decide, because I think trust is something that you can decide to give to someone, and it's also something that you can choose to accept from someone. You can accept someone else's trust of you. And if I choose to give my trust to someone, and trust them to be honest, and trust them to know my truth and accept me for who I am, but I'm not I don't trust they don't trust me, they don't give me their trust, then that really doesn't work. So I think that in my life, the people who I consider that I trust are the people that I feel comfortable giving my trust to, and the people that I know have given me their trust, because that's just something if someone you can tell if someone trusts you based on the way that they interact with you and the way that you interact with them, and that's a special kind of interaction. And sometimes it's unfortunate, but you can think that you can trust someone to be honest, and you can think that you've given them their trust and that they've accepted your trust, but sometimes that's not always the case. It's important to figure that out, because surrounding yourself with people who aren't going to be honest with you and not only trust you but let you trust them, that's not something that at least I want to surround myself with. So I think people in my life, I try to distance myself from the people that don't trust me, because if you can't trust me, then I really can't trust you. So yeah.
How do you think trust changes as you become an adult?
Well, I think that when you're an adult, you're obviously a lot more mature. Um, but I think that a lot of what it takes to trust someone and to receive someone's trust is built on experience, because especially at my age right now, and even up through college, we're still trying to figure things out in terms of how to really treat people and interact with other people. And that just takes a lot of different relationships and interactions to figure out how exactly to go about, because I feel like we're, as kids and teens and young adults, we're not really told how to treat people. You're supposed to have manners, and you're supposed to be kind to strangers and that sort of thing, but no one really teaches you the nitty-gritty aspects of what it's really like to develop a relationship of really any kind, whether it's a friendship or it's a romantic relationship with people. That stuff doesn't get taught, and a lot of times I feel like kids and all the way up to young adults get stuck because they don't really know how to deal with, there's a lot of things that they don't know how to deal with, if they give their trust to someone and eventually down the line they take the trust that you gave them and don't reciprocate that or give back as much as you're giving them, then a lot of times kids get stuck because they think that that's a reflection of them being not worthy or not a good person, and it's not. It's just we're not taught how to recognize the different, when pitfalls come in relationships and interactions with people. Kids a lot of time don't know how to deal with it, and they either act out irrationally or they're just confused. And once you get in enough of those situations, you start to realize that patterns repeat with all people. And by the time that you're an adult, I think that usually you've been through enough experience interacting with people that you know how to deal with certain types of situations, and you're always learning new things about how to interact with people. And like I said earlier, I think trust is one of the most basic, you know, it's one of the most important, like, foundational things for interactions with other people. So by the time you're an adult, once you've interacted with, you know, every type of person there is, you're gonna know, at least for you, exactly what trust is, and the types of people that you feel comfortable giving your trust to, and the types of people that you expect will give you their trust. And I think that it's just like the level of experience, adults versus, you know, kids and teens, is they've just been through more to know exactly what trust is. And like, I think that when you're an adult, it's also more like you recognize how important it is, because I feel like, you know, a lot of kids will, you know, sometimes slip up with someone that they've given their trust to, and that can completely ruin a relationship. And adults, they recognize the importance of holding that trust, so that's why they're more mature about it, and they don't, you know, make those little mistakes that can really impact someone. So I think that, you know, the older you are, the more understanding you have for what trust really is, and the more capable you are of keeping integrity with trustworthiness.
I believe that practice makes perfect. The reason why I say that is because if you look at everybody's story in the future, not in the future, but in the past, like Michael Jordan, how he was tried out for his middle school basketball team and didn't make it. And he really took that to heart. Like, I take a lot of stuff for basketball from me, I take a lot of stuff to heart. Came to his high school, became a star high school basketball player, went to UNC for college, and then played in the NBA. And look at where he's now. He's a huge icon. There's a whole bunch of other examples, like DJ Khaled makes practice perfect with his music, like helping other people, creating a perfect song, a tune that you will listen today. Uh, Also, Muhammad Ali, felt like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He's made he's practiced his whole life. It's made perfect. Louis Armstrong with the trumpet. Even just not even those people, like type of people, just athletics, but people who even do stuff in school. Like, I know I've like struggled through some stuff, but I've studied with teachers like on my, like, creating time, stopping basketball even though I love it. I've like created time just for them so I can talk about what I don't understand, and like this, here's an extra couple of sheets. I feel like you should practice this, and you'll start to understand it. And practice, 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 and next thing I know, I'm getting a B on my test, A plus also. It's pretty good. Like, I can't really say anything much about practice, but like, it's how dedicated to you're something. So if you're dedicated to something that you love, or something that like needs to take you on in life, you should definitely practice on it, even if you feel like you're already good at it. Like AI, he's one person, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows this one statement of him saying, "There's, I don't practice." Like, you kind of sit in there question, like, why don't you practice? Because he thinks he's already the best at everything. To be honest, he was a great basketball legend, player, everything, but if you think about it, he could have been twice that if he just practiced. Like, if he went in with his team and practiced on team chemistry, practiced on free throws. I know he was probably working out by himself, but like, if you really practice with your team, builds like more of a bond, more of a trust between everybody, trusting you to take another game shot and making it. Uh, it's practice is really a big thing. Like, I've heard some practices you can skip some practices if you do good in a game. Well, in boys basketball, it's Coach Taylor. He doesn't allow that. He wants you at practice each day. If you have an excuse, he says, "Come on, man, like, I can't have this. You need to practice." Just practicing means a lot. Like, can't really say anything else about practicing, even though it's it's a crucial part of life. Everything you do in life, you practice. It's like when you first wake up, a routine. How do you start a routine? It's practicing that routine. You wake up, get out of bed, use the restroom, flush, go wash your hands, go back to your room, make your bed and get dressed or take a shower, whatever you have to do. You started that, and repetitive, that's practicing something. So, I mean, everything you do in life, you practice. You practice your handwriting as each day you write. You practice typing because you're typing each day, texting somebody, typing a paper. You practice on talking, actually, just talking to someone, having a full-on conversation really helps you. Like, I'm practicing this now, I'm practicing my speech. It really helps practicing everything, like everything you do. I know, sounds a little weird, but practice means a lot to me. It should mean a lot to you. It should mean a lot to everybody, because really, if you didn't have practice, where would you be in life right now? Would you be very fluent? Would you have confidence in stuff that you're doing? Would you not have confidence in it? Because I'm 100% sure if you practice something, your confidence would be out the roof if you practice something for a whole bunch of times. But if you don't practice, if you practice like once or twice, you're not, when you need to perform, you're not gonna perform at the best of your level, because you can do stuff by yourself, but if you don't do it by yourself, if not even that, but if you do it by yourself and you just do it 100 times per day, I'm pretty sure that time when it comes, you have to like perform in front of a stage of people, you'll do perfectly fine because you've done it and you already, it's like muscle repetition, basically. Practicing sets like my path for life for basketball, and basically what I mean by that is I've practiced, and later in life, like I want to play basketball. I'm not like, pretty sure if you know me pretty well, basketball is my neverland. And like basketball means everything to me. It's like my world. That's why I say Neverland. But I've practiced so much. Like I've started playing basketball when I was young, and I've practiced so much. And it's, why would I just quit now? Something that I love and something I've put in so much time and practice for. Why would I just quit playing basketball now? Like, why would I not go harder and practice even harder, practice even more, practice for longer? Why wouldn't I do that? Just to make sure that what happens later in life, that I will be able to set up and play basketball, something that I would love to do and that not a lot of people can do. And what sets a lot of basketball players apart from each other is the amount of time they practice, like the amount of work they put in the gym and lifting, and just studying the game, watching NBA college, watching what each player does to mimic their game, to know what they could do better. Practicing all of that will set me up later in life to have an easy life. And by easy, I mean just being able to do something that like I would like to do in later life. That's what a lot of people want, their dream job. It's like a dream job. Basketball for me is a dream job. Something that when you wake up in the morning, you're like, hey, I get to play basketball. I'm not gonna shrug and say, oh man, I have to go into work, oh, I have to go work out. Practicing now is what I'm doing. It's preventing me to not say, oh, I have to go into work. Because I wanna be able to say, oh, I have to go into work, man. Like, let's go. Like, I get to play basketball, I get to shoot hoops, I get to run, I get to lift weights. I get to do stuff that people aspire to be every day, but they aren't putting in the work. There's always, like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, they're saying like practice makes perfect. Practice does make perfect, because I know you can't reach perfection. Nothing can be 100%. As a whole bunch of people might say that, physically you can't be 100%. You may reach your peak, but that's not gonna be 100%. And basically you need to strive for that. By practicing, you can actually strive to be 100%. Even though you know you're not gonna make 100%, you're going to do well in life just by practicing. So basically what I'm telling you is you need to practice. I don't care of how you do it, of how long you practice. As long as you practice each day, it's something that you love. I'm pretty sure that what you love will take you farther in life. So that's what I'm hoping right now basketball will do for me, because I can tell you after this, I'm gonna go downstairs, lift weights, and then go practice shooting free throws, shooting layups, dunks, everything that you could imagine in basketball. I'm gonna practice on that, and hopefully, as I keep practicing and practicing, I'll get better at it. I'll become more fluent. I'll become muscle memory, like I said. Hopefully, I'll have enough muscle memory just to be able to go inside a game and be able to, okay, go ahead and spin and dribble through the legs, crossover, with more confidence. Practicing makes confidence. It doesn't help you fail, it helps you succeed in life. So basically, practicing, the points I'm going to say is practicing helps you succeed, it helps you build confidence. Third reason, it helps you be you, to be honest. And I know that sounds a little strange why practicing helps you to be you, because if you didn't practice, your personality wouldn't be on point, because being you does help you practice. I know that also doesn't sound strange, but if you really do think about it, practicing does help you out. Like, it'll help out your personality by, if you go out and say like, oh hi, like I'm Noah Berry, I'm just wanted to talk to you, like this is who I am. Practicing that, it's going to help you in later life with your whole like relationships. Like, oh well, now I'm going into this relationship, like I actually truly do like this person, I'm being myself. And a whole bunch of people saying like, oh, when you're talking to a girl, when you're talking to a boy, be yourself, don't be somebody else. The reason why they say that is because you've practiced so many times of being yourself that you can't really be somebody else. When you be somebody else, you don't really know what to do next, like until you don't know what to do until you're presented with a problem. But if you're being yourself, something that you've practiced being, and somebody comes up and like there's a problem, you know how to react to it automatically like that, because you've practiced so many times of being yourself. You've never changed up on yourself. You never changed the way you've started talking. You never changed the way you've walked. It's just the way you are. So practicing is everything. Practice makes perfect. You just can't say that. If you say that, something's wrong with you. Like if you say practice doesn't make perfect, there's something wrong with you, because look at anything in history. Practice has made everything perfect. It's pretty hard for me to say that practice doesn't make perfect, because I really do believe that practice does. Because without practice, I wouldn't be here in life, because I'd probably do something stupid. So that's why I'm glad that I've been practicing basketball, keeping my head in the books, practicing on studying, so I'm occupied with something that will lead me into later life. So like basketball, hopefully like I could become a doctor if I start practicing, studying like being a nurse or something, like studying all the medical stuff. So for me to just practice.